All right, let's dive in to Bali. Today, we're looking at their Subak irrigation system.
Yeah,
It's really a fascinating way to manage water, especially for rice paddies.
absolutely.
And it's been around for a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the goal today is to really understand what makes it so special,
Yeah.
so unique, so long-lasting. Um, I mean, we're talking like centuries upon centuries,
Yeah.
right?
Millennia,
Millennia, yeah.
a millennial old system.
And you brought some incredible research too, highlighting like its UNESCO World Heritage status.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's so deeply rooted in Balinese culture, especially this idea of Hita Karana.
Well, it's really more than just irrigation. It's like an entire philosophy of life.
Okay, so maybe before we get too much further,
Right.
for anyone who's not super familiar with this, what is Subak exactly?
So Subak, it's basically the traditional way they manage water in Bali for all those amazing rice fields you see. Picture like this huge network of canals
Okay.
and tunnels and weirs and all those iconic terraces all working together, all fed by one main water source. It's honestly mind-blowing. We're talking something like 800 subaks, managing like 75,000 hectares of land. But here's the thing, it's way more than just pipes and ditches. It's also a whole agricultural community, and they have their own legal system, even their own religious practices,
That's amazing.
all tied back to this concept of Hita Karana.
And Hita Karana basically means...
It's all about balance,
Yeah.
like a three-way harmony. You have to be in harmony with God,
Okay.
it's harmony with your neighbors, and harmony with nature.
Right, so it's like a holistic approach to life.
It totally is. So
Yeah.
Payayangan, that's the harmony with the divine, with God, expressed through their temples and all the rituals.
I see.
Payawangan is all about community, how the farmers work together, support each other.
It makes sense.
And Palamanan, that's the connection to nature, how they take care of the environment, their sustainable practices.
That's so cool.
And it's this interconnectedness that really makes Subak so special.
Okay, I'm really curious, like how does this work on a practical level? So like where does the water come from and then how does it actually get to all these different places?
So most of the water comes from those volcanic highlands in the center of Bali. And it flows down using gravity through this amazing system of canals and tunnels.
No.
They have weirs along the way that help to control how much water goes where.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have those terrace fields, which slow down the ladder and let it soak in gradually. Super efficient, you know?
Right, right.
It's amazing.
But like you were saying earlier, it's not just about the engineering, it's about community, about
Mm.
managing this precious resource together.
Exactly.
You mentioned this term Subak Sangha.
Yeah, that's where the real magic happens.
Okay, so what is that?
So Subak Sangha, so these regular meetings that they have, all the farmers come together and they decide, like as a group, who needs water, how much, when.
Oh, what?
It's all based on need and what's available at the time. They have these local customary laws called a wig that guide how everything works. And they even synchronize their planting schedule. So everyone's working together,
Right, it's a real team effort.
It really is.
Yeah.
So different from like those big centralized systems,
Yeah, where it's all top down.
Exactly. Here, everyone has a say. It's real ownership.
And then, you see those beautiful water temples all over Bali.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just about aesthetics, right?
Not at all. They have a real practical function.
Yeah.
So you have the priests, the pamanku. They perform all these important rituals and ceremonies.
Okay.
But the temples, they also act as meeting places for the different subaks to come together, to talk about water sharing, to plan things out. It's like a central hub for cooperation.
So it's a really like collective effort, this whole system.
Totally. Maintaining the whole infrastructure is
Wow.
everyone's responsibility. And, they have these huge feasts to celebrate the harvests, which really brings the whole community together. Yeah, it reinforces those bonds.
Yeah, it does.
Now, from what I understand and from what I've read, this system isn't new.
No, not at all.
I mean, our research suggests it's been around for a very, very long time.
Oh, yeah. Like there's evidence of irrigated rice farming going all the way back to like 882 AD.
Wow, that's incredible.
And then there's mention of something called Kasuakan around 1071 AD.
Okay,
So, yeah, it's been evolving and being refined for like over 1,000 years.
that's amazing. And it seems so deeply integrated into Balinese culture, too.
Yeah, it's not just about agriculture. It's woven into the fabric of their society. It's part of their customary law, hukum adat. And it's a living, breathing example of Hita Karana. It's like how they live their lives every day.
Right.
And even in these ancient Lantar manuscripts, they talk about the different roles and responsibilities within the Subak.
So there's this, like, really strong historical basis for it.
It really is.
And of course, you can't talk about Bali and rice without talking about the spiritual side of things, right? It's huge. Water and rice, they're seen as sacred gifts, especially from Dewi Shri, the rice goddess.
Right, right.
And there are temples like Pura Ulankarik and Pura Bedugul, which are specifically dedicated to water and fertility.
It's so interesting how they built those terraced fields.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
But the landscape is not easy.
No, it's really hilly and challenging. But they figured it out, and they've been passing down that knowledge for generations.
It's incredible.
Yeah, they adapted to their environment and created something truly special.
Now, obviously, we live in a modern world, and even this ancient system, I imagine, is facing some modern pressures.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So what are some of the biggest challenges that Subak is up against today?
Well, I mean, there's urbanization. Cities are growing.
Oh, okay.
More people need more water. You've got tourism, which puts a strain on resources. And then, of course, there's climate change, which is messing with the rainfall patterns, making water even more scarce. And then you have some people converting agricultural land for other uses. So there are a lot of pressures, definitely.
But, I mean, are there people, are there communities trying to adapt, trying to find solutions?
Oh, yeah, for sure. There's a lot of really cool stuff happening. Some farmers are using rainwater harvesting techniques.
Okay.
Others are trying drip irrigation to be more efficient. They're adjusting their planting cycles based on the new rainfall patterns. And there are even water sharing agreements between different Subaks now. They're actually helping each other out, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And they're also forming these Subak federations to tackle these big challenges, on a larger scale. So there's a lot of hope, a lot of innovation.
That's good to hear.
It is.
But I guess, no system is perfect, right?
Right.
And the future isn't always guaranteed.
No.
So what are some of the ongoing threats that you see to this system?
So, yeah, I mean, the sad reality is that we are seeing Subak land being lost, Development encroaching. Water quality is going down in some areas. Yeah. Pollution and stuff. And it's hard to find the money and resources to maintain these ancient systems. Sometimes there are conflicts with government policies, and then you have all these new agricultural technologies coming in, which can be good, but they also can disrupt traditional practices. It's complex for sure.
I mean, it's really fascinating to think about how this very ancient system compares to what we're doing today.
It is. It's a totally different way of thinking.
In the modern world.
Yeah, yeah.
So what do you think are some of the most striking differences?
Well, for me, it's the fact that Subak is completely community-driven.
Okay.
It's bottom up, not top down. And they've managed to avoid that whole tragedy of the commons thing, where everyone's just taking and nobody's giving back. They've found a way to make shared responsibility actually work.
That's amazing.
It's incredible. And the way it's so interconnected with nature, with their spiritual beliefs, it's so different from our modern, purely technological approach to irrigation.
Right. It's much more holistic.
It is. And the fact that it's survived for so long,
yeah,
it's a testament to its adaptability and resilience, something we can learn from.
So to wrap things up, if we were to distill down the key takeaways from our deep dive into Subak, what would you say are the big ones?
Well, I think Subak shows us that sustainable water management, it can't just be about technology. It has to be about community, about culture, about respect for nature. And it's a living example of how ancient wisdom can still be relevant today,
Yeah, I agree.
It's really inspiring.
And it's a reminder that, we need to protect these systems because they're so valuable. So as a final thought, I guess for everyone listening, what if we all took a moment to think about how the values embedded in Subak, things like community, harmony with nature, even that spiritual connection, how can we apply those values in our own lives to manage our resources, to create a more sustainable future? It's something to ponder, right?
Sure.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. It's been a real pleasure exploring this with you.
It has. Thanks for having me.